Bank, bank. Hey, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Introducing the Podcast. Thank you for everybody who is here right now in the building. I appreciate you so much for being here. This is season 3. This is episode 2. And today, beautiful people, we are talking about, well, as always, new ways of thinking and new ways of being here on Introducing Podcast. I'm gonna take these bracelets off because I talk with my hands and it'll be a whole musical ensemble. So hey Cortland, hey mom, how are you guys doing? Thank you so much for being here. I love you guys and I greatly appreciate you so much. So let's get into it. Let's get into today's topic, which is about pillars. The pillars we stand on. Okay, so let's get into it. Lately, everybody talking about standing on business, right? We want to stand on business, and I love that energy. I love the standing on business energy because what it's saying is I'm showing up, and I'm showing up as me, and this is what I'm standing on. The problem that I'm finding, right? And so it really got me to thinking. It's like, okay, that's cool and all, but what does that really mean for you? Like, what is your business, right? Because the work is you, and everybody's business is not the same. So we're talking about staying on business. What is your business? Oh, okay. And so that got me to thinking about pillars, right? What are we standing on? What are the foundations of our lives, right? Our personal lives as we journey on, right? What holds us up when things get hard? Mm. And what guides our decisions, our growth, and our healing? What are our guiding points? What helps us navigate through this journey of life? You know what I'm saying? And pillars for me are something that I want to talk about. So, we're going to talk about pillars today, the core values, truth, and principles that your life are built on. Can you think of any pillars that you have for your life? Like when you think of who you are, what do you stand on? What is something that you can stand on and you mean business about it? Right? Like you be like you show up and you know that you're not tolerating nothing, right? So today I'll share some of my own pillars, my own journey of even discovering what a pillar is, um, and how they have evolved over the time because they have. So, um, and why it's important for you to define your own, especially if you're committing to living a life that is aligned with your authentic self. If you are committed to really living your authentic self, you have to know your pillars because you have to know what it is that you stand on. All right. All right. So I'm good. I'm glad you're sharing yours. Make sure if you're here, share your pillars in the comment so that everybody can see what your pillars are. But yeah, let's get into it. So what are pillars? What are pillars? What's a pillar? And pillar in the structural form is an upright support for a superstructure, right? That's what a pillar is. That's based on, Merriam-Webster's definition in the dictionary. And so it's a firm, upright support for a superstructure. In this context, in introducing, we are talking about personal growth and development, right? We're talking about authenticity. So, when we're talking about pillars as it relates to personal growth and development, the firm, upright support, that's your morals, right? That's your values, the things that are important to you. And the superstructure is you. You are the superstructure. Okay, you are it. You are the superstructure. All right. And so I want you to remember that. So these pillars are important, right? Because as you grow into your authentic self, as you start to stand on the business that is you, right? You have to have those firm, upright supports for you as that superstructure. Okay, superstructure. So I, I'm interested to hear what you think about pillars. Like when you hear pillar, right? What? See, Cortland, you already, because we've had this discussion. You already know what those pillars are, but some people may not know what they're talking about. They may have no idea what I'm talking about. And I really want to get into pillars in the sense of how do you want to build your life? Right? Because what we want to do is we don't want a foundation that is shaky. If you want to build a beautiful life, you don't want to have a shaky foundation. So you want to be clear in your pillars. And one thing about that is, I think a lot of times when you're on a personal development, I know for myself personally, I'm gonna speak for me. Smart video girl gonna speak for herself. So when I was growing through my personal development phase, a lot of times you hear some keywords of things that you should be, what areas of your life do you want to focus on? You want to focus on your financial life, you want to focus on your physical life, you want to focus on your spiritual life, you want to focus on your love life, you want to focus on your career life, and all those areas kind of become the pillars, right? But what I'm talking about is deeper than that. I'm talking about almost like non-negotiables for how you operate and how you show up as a person in your authentic self. So what is something that is required that resonates, going back to last week, what is something that resonates with you personally as a value, as a moral, that's something that is a non-negotiable when it comes to you showing up as your authentic self, okay? And again, pillars are those structures that help you support that superstructure, which is you. All right. So, what is it that supports you in being and showing up as your most authentic self? Okay. And I want to be clear, right? Because I want to be very clear. Pillars are not goals. Pillars are not goals. Pillars are your guiding principles. Okay. These are your guiding principles. These are things that resonate with you and how you operate and how you show up in your authentic self, in your authentic way. All right. These are not goals. Okay. This is not a pillar is not it's not a goal that you're trying to reach. And this is something that you stand on. This is a guiding principle that helps you make decisions, that helps you help other people. How you show, let me get my thought together. This is something that you use to help other people understand and learn who you are, right? And we'll talk about that because all of these things go together. Your pillars are going to be different than someone else's pillars. Nobody's pillars are going to be the same. And that's because we are not the same. And as we show up authentically as ourselves, then we are going to have different guiding principles on how we show up and how we operate as our authentic selves. Okay. So again, pillars are not goals. Pillars are guiding principles, all right? And these guiding principles help you make decisions that are aligned with who you are authentically, all right? All right, so let's get to it. So how did I even come up with principles? Pillars. Let's talk about that. Why are we even talking about pillars? So when I was let's see, well, 2 years ago, I was in a program with Iyanla Vanzant, and it was called the Rites of Passage program, and it was women from across the country, across the world. Actually, we gathered. It was a 9-week program, and then we had a 4-day in-person retreat, and it was so beautiful. It was wonderful. It was life changing. It was definitely a moment on my personal journey that transformed me, and like I did a quantum leap during that process because it was just what I needed to be. And at the end of that process, we were tasked with we were tasked with the responsibility for developing our pillars for our lives. As we move forward, we got new names. We got renamed. It was definitely for me an opening of my heart chakra to realize how I was not honoring myself as a person, and in the same breath, my principle in that process was self-respect. So it was very, 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 very transformational. And then when I got renamed, my name was Falami. And in that, Falami means to honor and respect me. So I knew it was no question. God, when you know, right? How? Because the process for picking these principles and the process for picking the name was so authentic. There was no assigning of names. Like, you didn't get assigned, you picked it. So you had to resonate with the energy. You had to go through this process. You had to meditate. You had to pick it. So what was for you was going to be for you. Nobody was going to give you anything. And in both instances, in the beginning and in the end of this process, I picked basically the same thing. I go from lack of self-respect, or unawareness of how I was disrespecting myself, to picking a name that ultimately says, hear me, see me, know me, Falami. I love that. I love that for me. It was great. But within that, everybody in the group, and I was in a group of 40-year-old women, everyone in the group had their own principle. And towards the end of the program, we were tasked with the we were tasked with creating 4 pillars, coming up with 4 pillars for our life as we continue to move forward. And they said only 4, not 6, not 3, because this is about following instructions. 4, nice, sturdy structure. 4, right? And one of them had to be the name, your principle for the program. So my principle was self-respect. So ultimately, the first one was self-respect for me. And then the other 3 principles that resonated with me were peace, freedom, divinity. So my 4 foundational principles, as that's founding, yes, my 4 founding pillars are peace, freedom, divinity, and self-respect. Okay? Peace, freedom, divinity, and self-respect. And for me, it was like non-negotiables. The easy ones were, of course, self-respect. I had to have that one, so that was easy. Peace and freedom, they were easy breezy for me. Because at that point, if it was compromising my peace, my inner peace, meaning that I, if it didn't resonate, right? If it disrupted my peace, I wasn't dealing with it. That was a pillar in my life. That was something I was standing on. Business, right? I'm standing on business. I'm standing on my peace. It's non-negotiable. I'm standing on my self-respect. It's non-negotiable. I'm standing on my freedom. Now, freedom is another one, personal freedom. In this case, I'm talking about personal freedom. I'm not talking about racial freedom. I'm not talking about anything. I'm talking about personal freedom. And last week, when I was talking about what resonates with you and things of that sort, we talked about a little bit about well, anyway, what resonated with me is freedom. Like, oh yeah, me working. That was not my thing. Freedom is a thing that I value. I value I value the freedom of my time to be able to do things when I want to do them. I value that. Okay. I value that so much that I don't work the 9 to 5. Can't do it because of the time and the lack of freedom, the freedom that is taken away from me. I value that. It may not be important to somebody else, but it's important to Crystal. It's important to Smart Video Girl. It's important to Falami. We need our freedom. And the freedom comes in so many ways. It comes in the freedom to use your voice. It comes in the freedom to be who you are authentically. That too is freedom. Like the freedom to show up as your authentic self. That is the type of thing that was resonating with me when I developed these pillars. So then I was having a hard time coming up with the last pillar. I was like, okay, self-respect because I gotta have it. That's who I am. Peace and freedom, non-negotiables. Excuse me, confirmation burp. Non-negotiables. And then the last one, I was like, what is it, right? What is the last one? And it came down to divinity. And divinity meaning that my connection with God, my relationship with God, the understanding that the God that created the universe and the world also created me, and that there is a connection between me and that God. And because of that connection, there is a divinity that lives within me. And that is non negotiable. These are my pillars. These are the things that I am standing on business. Crystal is standing on business when it comes to her peace, freedom, divinity, and self respect. Non negotiables. Before the process of selecting these pillars, I couldn't really say that confidently because I hadn't give conscious thought to those pillars. You know what I'm saying? It was something that I had not thought about before. So I couldn't really speak on it. It was just something that it's something that I just did not know how to do. Let's see. My mama said, I want to get that type of freedom. Me time. Yes. 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 I know that's right. And I think it's important. And I think everybody should have their time. Time is important. I don't care what nobody says. Time is a very valuable and important thing. And when I think about it like that, freedom, freedom not being restricted by societal norms. Again, this is resonating. When you make room, right? When you clear out the things that are not yours, when you clear out space that is currently being filled by other people's expectations, societal norms, you know, the you create the space for the freedom. You create the space within yourself for that freedom. So I think you got it. I think you got it. It's already yours. And if you claim it and if that's what you want, you make that a pillar. You write that down and you make that a non negotiable. You make that part of what you stand on. When it comes to my me time, it's non negotiable. And if people don't like it, guess what? You don't like it, so what? I don't care. Like, and that's okay with that. And you have to be okay with that because you have to understand that where that's coming from is a place of authenticity, and authenticity is how you are able to show up as your best self. I think we all need our me time. I think it's important for everybody. You understand me? You understand? So there are some other examples of pillars. Um, at this point now, I have 12. Okay, I have 12 pillars now. Oh yeah, so let's see. Fighting for our demons fitness. Okay, I like this. They said I had to set rules for myself to reach my goals. It was the only way I could better myself. Right. And so see what you're talking about is one of those things. And I love that you brought that up because one of the things, remember what I said here, pillars are not goals, they're guiding principles, right? But they help you reach your goals. They help you reach your goals. The pillars are the roadmap to help you stay in alignment with your authentic self. Remember, alignment with your authentic self is the goal. Alignment, not perfection. So, what you're saying is right, spot on. You set up these pillars for yourself. They almost serve as boundaries. They always serve as your lane. This is your lane. How you operate, what your values, what your morals are, they're yours, and you stand on that. And I love that. So at this point, I have 12 pillars, and they have evolved naturally. And the way that they've kind of come up is once I once I really embodied, once I really embodied the peace, the freedom, the divinity and the self-respect, once I was like, these are no longer just things that I feel like I want to have in my life. They are who I am now. I said, I'm ready to create another set of four. And so as I continue to elevate, I'm doing four at a time. And there's no time period, there's no time limit on when you should or how you can do this, but I suggest that you all do it. And once you feel like you've mastered that, you have a control, you're consciously and subconsciously operating in your pillars, then create new ones. Because that's almost like that gym workout. You're going to, as you continue to build higher and higher, you're going to elevate and you're going to challenge yourself to really step into your authenticity, is to step into those things that really resonate with you, and you'll get bold and you'll get courageous and you start doing new things. Okay, so I'm excited about that. Some other examples of pillars you can think of as integrity, creativity, stillness, faith, joy, which are some of my other ones, love, authenticity. Do you guys have any? Cortland Jones said hope, peace, and resilience are some of his pillars. So make sure you share your pillars in the chat. Let me know what some of your pillars are, how you operate. What are some of the morals and values that you stand on business with? You know what you know, what you know good, what you know good about who you are and what you stand on business for. Right? Your higher self is the umbrella, the bars that hold you up are the pillars securely. You better speak it. You better know it like you own it. I appreciate you. I appreciate you. That is true. Your higher self is the umbrella. That that's it. That's what we're talking about. We're talking about getting to that place of authenticity, reaching for that higher self. Your authentic self is your highest self. There's nothing more pure than you. That the authentic self that you were created to be by the Most High. Right. And your pillars stand you up. They hold you up so that you can, stand on business. Stand on business. I love it. Is that wait a minute? I can't see the picture or the face. So this is Blair High School alumni. Shout out to you. I love you guys. Is it? I think I know who it is, but I can't see it. I need glasses. Okay, so we ain't gonna talk about that. We're not gonna talk about that. Okay, so why do pillars matter? Why do we need pillars? We've already talked about them. We've already said they're the bars that hold you up. They are the things that keep you aligned in the noise amongst the chaos, right? If you don't have pillars, if you don't, you stand on business. Remember, that was the question. We stand on business, but what business is you standing on? Because that business is very, you know, what's the word? Cliche. And I don't really like cliches. I like analogies, I don't like cliches. The business is really general. What do you stand for? You show up and I can tell you what mines are. But they help you, guide you through when it's in chaos and when it's in noise. And it also helps you make decisions for clarity because you can be clear about where you're going when you know what you stand on. You know what you can say yes to and what you can say no to. You have already identified those things that resonate with you. Remember last week we talked about what resonates with you, right? So your pillars now become your guiding point of what resonates with you. Peace resonates with me. Freedom resonates with me. Chaos does not. Bondage does not resonate with me. That does not resonate with who I am. Therefore, I don't stand on that. So what do you stand on? And it also helps you understand and respect your own boundaries. Again, we'll talk about that. And it also helps you stay present to who you are and how you're showing up. And I can speak about this in my own personal experience because as I was developing my principles, my pillars, I realized that how much of my personal freedom I was giving away. I didn't realize that at first. I didn't understand it. Even though I was quote unquote standing on business, I didn't realize that my freedom was one of those things that I wasn't that was kind of shaky. And but when I was conscious of it, because it was something that I had written down and solidified as something that was going to be important to me, non-negotiable, I was able to see opportunities. I was aware of spaces and places where I was not freedom was not something that I was standing on. So I was able to I was able to work through that consciously. And again, like I said, it took me almost a year before I developed in a whole new set of principles, a whole new set of pillars. And I'll share my other pillars on Instagram. So make sure you follow me on Instagram. It's Smart Video Girl. You can see it's right there on the screen. Boop, boop, boop. Smart Video Girl. Follow me on Instagram, and I'm going to do a live where I share all 12 of my pillars and the levels at which they came in the development and how they actually transformed my life because I could see the growth. It's like it's that measuring stick. You can see the growth. Right. Time is irrelevant. I could see the growth because my second set of pillars came like a year later. But then my next set of pillars came almost like 6 months. I was like, because I was conscious, I was aware of what it is and where I was going. Because even the pillars could be the foundation of where you want to be. Who, what is it that you want? As my mom stated, she wants to get to a place of that freedom for that me time. Okay, but that's what you want. You plant that thing, you stick that stake in the ground, and you build on that. But you can't build on it if you don't plant it in the ground, and that's what the pillars want to do. You got to dig and see for a pillar to really hold the structure. You got to dig deep. And that's probably why the first four set took a long time because you have to dig deep for that first set because it's got the higher you go, the more it has to be able to support the superstructure that is you. Remember, because you are the superstructure. You are the superstructure. And so you have to dig deep for those first pillars to make sure that as you continue to grow to your highest and most authentic self, you can withstand the most. So when you're thinking about those pillars, those foundational pillars, make sure that they are so unmoving, unshakable that it's like, okay, if nothing else, this is what I'm standing on. And then for everybody, it's going to be different. For everybody, they're going to be different. I promise you, they will be. I promise you will be. Yes. We are superstructures. That's right, Corlin. If you don't see yourself as a superstructure, who's going to see you as a superstructure? If you don't see yourself as a super being, who's going to see you as a super being? Nobody. Nobody. All right. All right. I had notes, y'all, because I'm prepared. I think that'll be my next set of pillars. So I'm really excited. Again, thank you. This is season 3, episode 2 of Introducing the Podcast. Last week we talked about only if it resonates with you, only if it resonates with you. And then this week we're talking about those pillars. What are you standing on? And thank you for the subscription. I appreciate you. What are you standing on? What? So when you figure out what resonates with you, then you start to understand those things at your core, those things that were birthed in you, right? They start to come out. That's what these pillars are. Like these are your values. These are your morals. This is how you operate authentically, and you build on that. And really, I had the idea to do this episode before I even finished the last episode because it just seemed to fit so well, and I'm literally have been given the course for the next episodes on how we build on this, because once you have these pillars, then what do you do with them, right? And we'll talk about that in the future episodes. But once you have these pillars, what do you do with them? But the key in this episode is identifying those four structural pillars, those four foundational pillars that you are standing on. What are you standing on? What business is you standing on? I said, is you standing on, and I mean, is you standing on? Okay. So I hope you have your pen and paper, journals, because I hope you've been taking notes. Let's do a little recap. Pillars. We talk about pillars. So pillars are a firm, upright structure. Upright support for the superstructure that is you. I didn't add that part, but you are the superstructure. Okay. The pillars are what holds you up, what helps you elevate and grow into your most authentic self. Remember, pillars are not goals, they're guiding principles. They help you reach your goals by helping you make decisions, okay? By helping you set boundaries, okay? That is what the pillars are. They're not goals, okay? They may be things that you want to embody, right? But goals kind of like once you get to goal, you check it off. But a guiding principle, it sticks with you. These don't go away. These are found. These are, you don't knock pillars off. If you don't reach a goal and knock the pillar off, the structure is going to fall. These things are who you are. So these are foundations. So when you're thinking about pillars, think foundational. Think think long term. Think forever. Think eternal. Okay. Think internally. Okay, because they are what makes you who you are. They help you show up as your authentic self. Okay. All right. What I say? Oh, not goals, guiding principles. And don't forget, alignment with your authentic self is the goal. That's the goal. And so the pillars help you elevate that structure, that superstructure that is you. All right. So alignment with your authentic self. And you'll know the pillar is in alignment. You'll know it'll feel right. You'll know exactly what it is. And remember, it's alignment, not perfection. Because what's perfect? I mean, you're perfectly made as you are, but you're not perfect, and you are you. And that's what it is. And we want to be in alignment with our authentic selves, but we do not want to chase perfection. All right. Oh my goodness. So yes, I love in the comments. So I'm gonna go to the comments right on. Patricia, life is to be experienced, not just lived. That is a fact. That is the truth. And that that's love right there. Uh yes, and Cortland's equated. Are you equating? Tell me if I'm right in this. Pillars to character traits. Let me know if that's what you are referring to. And if that's the case, you are right. I agree with you. I agree with you. All right, because we got big goals, okay? You my goal is to align with my authentic self. I'm building a superstructure that is aligned with my highest authentic self. And the pillars that I stand on that help me get to that point are peace, freedom, divinity, and self-respect. Now there are more, but those right there are my four. That rhymed. I could be a rapper. Again, okay, so I gave you some time to get your journals. We're going to do a journal prompt. Okay, this is the thing. Like I this evolution is me. This is just me, and I'm loving it. All right, so the journal prompt. What are we doing? What are we doing? Here we go. Notice journal prompt. What do I want my life to stand on? What do I want my life to stand on? What do I want my life to stand on? What to stand on? I'm putting it in the chat just for you who don't know. That's the first question. The second question, what values feel like home to me? What values feel like home to me? What values? Right, because see, home is in here. Home is in here. Home is home is in here. We talked about what resonates. Home is in here, right? So if it resonates, if it feels like home, if it feels like home, it resonates. What feels like home for you? Okay. What values feel like home for you? And then the last question is, what do I want to be known for by myself, not just others? What do I want to be known for by myself, not just others? For myself. What do I want to be known for by myself? What am I standing on? Regardless of what other people, what am I standing on? That those are the questions. So again, first question is, what do I want my life to stand for? What values feel like home? And what do I want to be known for by me, not by others? What do I want to be known for by me, not by others? I think that's a good one. Because at the end of the day, we're not worried about what other people think about us. What other people think about me, it's not my problem. It's not my business. What do I stand for? What are my pillars? Because they are non-negotiable and they resonate with me. And I'll be able to help other people understand it. And we'll talk about that. We'll talk about that. Trust and believe me, we will talk about that. I feel like I'm missing something. I don't know. But anyway, so Cortland Jones said, life is the best version of me, being the best version of me. I love that. Life is being the best version of me. Okay. And values self love, resilience, and creativity. Okay. 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 I like that. I like that. Do you have any other value? Anybody else have any other pillars that they want to share about what they stand on? Okay, so the last question again, Corlin said, what was the last question? The last question is, what do I want to be known for by me, not by others? Right? So again, because what other people think about me is not my business, but what do I want to be known for by me, not by others? Mm, mm. Patricia said, reflecting on my past experience and passing them on to maybe help someone else. Okay, okay, okay. So one of those pillars maybe for you is to um, sharing, teaching, empowering people. Those are good. What do you want to be known for by you? You want to be known as someone who helped other people by using your past experiences. So, and that is you, Patricia. You are what they call helpful. You are helpful. Okay. I think this is Macau. If this is Macau, let me know. I don't know. I'm not sure. I can't tell. It might be somebody else. Anyway, not sure if this is a pillar, but one thing that has been constantly showing up is the space. I can't read it. Let me write it right here. Oh God, wrong one. Okay, not sure if it's a pillar, but one thing that's been helping me the last couple of weeks is reminding myself that I can only focus on the things I can control. Yes. Hmm. Mindfulness. Um. Mm-hmm. 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 Releasing. Surrender. Surrender. That might be a good pillar. If you had to wrap it up and put it into surrender. Surrender would be a good one. Known for by me, I'm reminded steadfast and consistently showed up to the space of life authentically as Cortland, as my best self. I don't know if I read that right. Forgive me. But yes, so I think that you guys, these are some really good ones. These are really good. And I like the way that you guys are expressing yourself. That's where the journal prompts are coming from. Okay. Because the journal prompts will help you get these things out and these thoughts out. Right. And then you can, like, what is that? If I could sum that up in one word, that to me sounds like surrender. Only focusing on the things that you can control. That sounds like surrendering control to the things that you cannot. All right. And life only knows how to do one thing, and that's life. Live life. That's his only job. Yeah, that's it. Life can only live, and you can only live your life authentically. Oh, yes. Oh my goodness gracious. I love that. Y'all have been amazing tonight, and it has been a pleasure being back here on the podcast, and I've really taken the time to make sure that I am showing up authentically. It took me 2 years to come back to do this podcast. 2 years because I was not ready. I was not ready. And my last set of pillars, and I'm gonna share the last set. One of two of the last uh, pillars in the group that I had were fulfillment, okay, and acceptance. Fulfillment and acceptance. And it was like a light bulb, like literally, like fulfillment. Like what fulfills me? In my freedom now, what, and now that I have this freedom, that I've stood on my business, that I've created, because I've created this life of freedom for myself. Now where's the fulfillment? Where's your fulfillment, Crystal? On that level now, what fulfills you, what genuinely fulfills you, what brings you fulfillment? And I'm learning that space for me and what that really looks like in doing this work that I so love and enjoy, that it brings me joy, and i that I do authentically, and that I didn't even know that I had, that I think I've had all my life, but I didn't even know how to do. I didn't know how to use it. But it does bring me fulfillment now in doing it in a way that's authentic to me and how I want to do it and how I want to show up. Because for a long time, I was doing it to, and how I thought I should do it, or the way other people were doing it, and yeah, it didn't work for me. It didn't work for me. So I have to do it like this. This is how Crystal has to do it. This is how Crystal is going to do it moving forward. And it's very fulfilling to be able to be in this space and to combine the things that I love to do, which is production, which is to empower, and to be able to run my mouth. Because sometimes I like to do that only about things that I love. And I love talking about personal development. I love talking about self growth, and I love talking to you guys. So I'm happy. And then the other one, acceptance. Oh, acceptance. Oh, let's talk about that one, because I have a whole book of A words. And awareness is one of the big ones. Awareness is key. You have to be aware. But one thing I realized about being aware is sometimes we don't like what we're aware of. Uh-oh. Did I hear crickets? Sometimes we don't like what we're aware of. So there's this acceptance, there's this attitude shift, there's this acceptance for things and where they are at the moment. Awareness is just seeing things for what they are, and then learning to accept them is interesting. Because when you see things, then you become aware of it. It's like that's what it is. You see the smoke from the incense. You're aware of it, but then you have to like accept it. And so in our lives, there may be things that we are aware of that we don't like. You know, I don't like that. I have this tendency to like procrastinate, right? But then where does it come from? And how do I accept that? And accept it, and not in a way of settling. I didn't say settle. I didn't say settle. But much like what we were talking about earlier, reminds me of only doing and focus on things that I can control. I am accepting who I am, where I am, what I'm seeing, the awareness of it, accepting it, and not fighting it, right? Because this is what the acceptance is saying, yeah, yeah, this is what it is. This is what it is. And now I can do something about it. But if you don't accept things, you can't do anything about them. And that's very important. And as I have been moving, even if you're aware of them, because you can be aware of them and throw them right back to where they were very easily. But when you accept them, then you can start to move forward. You can start to um, change those things. Yes, hashtag acceptance. Okay, one of my words, one of my very favorite words. Again, uh, y'all, I'm wrap this up because y'all know we don't need to be on here forever. I like to give it to you and then get to going. So today's episode of Introducing, we're talking about pillars. What do you stand on? What are you standing on? Because everybody talking about standing on business. What is your pillars? What are the upright structures that support you, the superstructure? I shared my pillars with you all. Again, my 4 pillars were freedom, peace, divinity, and self respect. Those were my founding pillars that I discovered. And I only suggest you start with 4, okay? Only start with 4. Because if you don't start with 4, like if you start with more than 4, then you might get overwhelmed. All right. That's the first thing. And the second thing is if you do less than that, then you know, I don't know, but 4 is a good number to start with. Start with 4 because it'll give you a nice even structure to start with. And as you feel led by the spirit, when it resonates with you, build on that. Write them down in your journal. And if you're having problems of coming up with those, don't forget to ask the questions in our journal prompts, which is, what do I want my life to stand on? What values feel like home to me? Meaning, what resonates with me? Right? What resonates with me? And what do I want to be known for by myself, not by others? Meaning, if nobody else's opinion matters, nobody else is not about nobody else's opinion of me. What do I, at my core, when nobody's watching, what are those pillars for me? Okay? Write it down, share. Make sure you keep a notebook. I think I'm going to do something special for you guys because I'm really I'm really loving doing this exchange, and I'm really grateful to be able to share. I have notes. I want to share my notes with you guys so we can all grow together because that's the goal. The goal is to grow together because you are my family and I love you guys. You are my people. You are my village. If you are listening to me, if the sound of my voice has hit your ears at this very moment, you are in my village. You are my people and I love you from my heart. Okay? And the fact that you listen to me in my in my silliness um, is greatly appreciated. I do not take any of it for granted. Okay. All right. Yes, you guys are on my planet. Accepting the things we cannot change and changing the things we can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Yes, that is a good one. That is so true. You are so right. Okay. Acceptance. That could be a pillar. So think about what pillars you stand on. Make sure you tell a friend to tell a friend to tell a friend. Again, those are the things I meant to put that on the screen. You can write that. I'll leave that up there for a little bit so that you can get those. I don't know why I didn't put it up earlier. um, those are the journal prompts. What do I want my life to stand for? What values feel like home to me? And what do I want to be known for by myself, not by others? Mm-hmm. Humility. I like that. I like that. I like that. That's a good one. That's a good one. That's a good one. All right, people. I love you. This has been another wonderful, wonderful, wonderful episode of Introducing Podcast. You guys are like my favorite people in the world. I said that already. Make sure you follow me on Instagram at Smart Video Girl. Make sure you check me out every week. There will be a new episode of Introducing the Podcast every week. So always 9 p.m., but I don't know what day, okay? So just make sure you're following me, hit the notification bell. That way you'll never miss an episode. And of course, I will always send out notifications. I love you. Share this with a friend. Listen to it all week. Take notes. Use your journal. I love you. Peace. Have a great day.